Hello and welcome to EV Platform. My name is Derek Riley from EV Review Ireland.
And my name is Blake Boland from EV Life Ireland. And we have quite an exciting episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the Tesla of the scooter world and the future factory that is online to produce 10 million units per year. Stay tuned.
So when we talk about India, I know I'm guilty of it. I don't think about India with regards to electric vehicles or renewable energy. I think about California. I think about
Mm,
China. That's all I'm seem to hear about. But India is there in a big way. I
mm,
know it has one of the biggest solar farms in the world at 648 megawatt hours in
mm.
Tamil Nadu. And then we have, it hopes to have by the end of this year, 2021, if you're watching it this year, this episode, and they're hoping to have 175 gigawatt hours of capacity. So, like, it's a country I don't think about, but Ola, who are Ola?
Yeah, so they're an India company. They have their headquarters in India. They are India's largest mobility company, so ride-sharing apps. But they're making acquisitions at a frightening rate over the last few years. They're into food delivery now. It's a really exciting space for them. Absolutely gigantic company with thousands of employees. Um, and they're doing some really exciting things and been quite aggressive in their acquisitions as well. So developing different arms to the business. Um, Quite an exciting company.
So they're thinking about going into this EV manufacturing space because being a ride-hailing platform like the Ubers and the Lyfts is one thing, but making your own vehicle is
Mm.
another. Explain where they're going to get that expertise from.
Yeah, they've hired, for example, Jose Pinheiro. Apologies for my pronunciation. Name formerly of GM. They've also hired Julian Jefford. He used to be head of the global commercial director for Peugeot's motorcycle arm. So they're gaining a lot of expertise by hiring people and these acquisitions. And in February, I think it was February of 2019, they had this spin-off of their company called Ola Electric Mobility. And they have since acquired Etergo, a Dutch EV manufacturer, scooter EV manufacturer, that is. And they're looking at producing these in gigantic numbers now.
So I mentioned the location of the world's largest solar farm, whether you
Mm.
rate that as area or output, but listen, we're going to give it to them in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
But that's where the construction site is that right?
Yeah, they have a greenfield site there, 500 acres, absolutely gigantic. And they're talking about using something like 10 million hours of labor to get this factory produced. Obviously, something like this happens in phases, but phase one has already started production in February of this year, in 2021, and it's going at a frightening rate. We've all heard about what Tesla has done in China with their gigafactory there, and now in Germany. These guys are very, very fast.
So phase one is going to push out 2 million units per year. This is
Mm.
going to be a big, big factory. So how big are we talking?
So yeah, they're phase one, as you said, 2 million. That's going to go up to about 10 million units once they get up to full capacity, and they're talking about doing this in a matter of months. So yeah, gigantic company that's has going to have a gigantic factory.
So on site, we talk about battery chain and supply chain of batteries, but everything is going to be done on site. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're going to manufacture the batteries on site. They are going to employ something like 5,000 robots to work and run the factory, and they've teamed up with Siemens and with ABB to help them produce this level of integration in their systems. A lot of AI, talk about their own tech stack that they're going to use to power all these systems and keep the factory kind of communicating.
When you have the likes of Siemens and ABB and these names, global names, very well
Mm.
respected names, it shows that they're serious about it. Now, putting a big lump of a factory in the 500 acres, what are we talking with regards to sustainability?
Yeah, this is one of something that seems quite important to them. So it's a 500-acre site, but 100 acres of it is actually going to be kept as forest cover once the factory is finished. 2 further acres of forest is actually going to be within the factory. So their sustainability is quite important to them. They're talking about reusing all of the soil and the rocks that in construction within the factory itself. They're hoping to be carbon negative as well, so producing more energy on the factory than they actually use within the factory in any given year. So they seem to be putting a lot of effort into that, and it should be the world's most sustainable scooter factory when it's finished.
Interesting. A forest inside, squirrels running around. Listen, what are they actually going to make in the factory? So we've kind of hinted at it, and you referenced it earlier on with one of their acquisitions.
Yeah, Etergo, the Dutch company. So they've acquired this company now, and they're taking what Etergo launched in 2018, the AppScooter. It's a pretty exciting vehicle there, and you can see from the footage, I think it looks pretty good, pretty sleek. The matte black finish, I think, is my favorite. But this is a pretty cool scooter with some really, really interesting specs.
So you're talking about the best of the best and the newest of the best. You're talking probably LED this and touchscreen that.
Yeah, it's going to have LED lights. It's going to have a 7-inch touch screen, which you can connect with your phone. It's going to have 3 removable batteries that are in this kind of banana shape that follow the form of the scooter itself. So you can take all these out to charge them, but each one is going to give you 80 kilometers of range for a total of 240. Now, that's more range than my Nissan Leaf has, so we'll see. We've all been kind of let down in the past with any DC cycles and not getting the range that's promised. So once this thing gets out into the real world, we'll see what it can actually do. But it's a significant range for a moped or a scooter, no doubt.
And it's no slouch either.
No, 6 kilowatts of power it's going to put out. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but this is going to be a pretty light vehicle. So they're giving a figure of 3.9 seconds for the 0 to 45 race. I don't know about you, Derek. How many times have you done the 0 to 45 race on a two-wheeler before?
Not a lot. I know one thing is for sure, that I will be applying the brakes more often than not, and they're going to take some energy back on that side as well.
Yeah, it's got regen braking, I think, which is hugely important as well. So I heard their CEO, when he was talking about the development of this, the tweaks and the iterations of 5 to 10% of the power coming back in. Obviously, depends on the terrain and what type of a route you're taking, But yeah, hugely exciting scooter, and I personally would love to see more vehicles like this on roads, especially where I am in Ireland. But places around the world where the scooter is quite popular, certain continental European cities or Indian cities or Chinese cities, it's the perfect vehicle for getting around and nipping in between cars at rush hour traffic with that terrible congestion that comes with it.
Absolutely. I was lucky enough to visit Vietnam a couple of years ago, and like literally when the light went green, there was a wave of two-wheelers and noisy and polluting. And it's great to see a company like this that are thinking about manufacturing their own two-wheeler. Obviously, their parent company is in relation to mobility. And I know in Vietnam, you could go on your app and rent a driver and a scooter to bring you where you needed to go. You just need to hug him in the back and hold on tight. So it'd be great if he could hear me whispering in his ear.
I was just about to say, I'm not going to ask you any more about that experience, Derek. We'll leave that one for a fireside story or a pint in a pub sometime.
Hopefully.
One point that you did touch on there in terms of pollution, that these smaller kind of petrol combustion vehicles are quite polluting. I know in Europe anyway, they're held to a much lower standard than cars, so they can be extremely polluting. It's fantastic that they're smaller and lighter, but the engines are just not quite up to scratch. And if we can shift those from this polluting style over to electric mobility, where you can charge on cleaner energy, that's got to be a good thing.
Absolutely. Listen, we hope that you've enjoyed today's episode about the Future Factory and Ola and their two-wheeled electric vehicle, the AppScooter from Etergo. Make sure that you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit the like button, but also let us know in the comments what you think about this factory and the scooter itself. And as I mentioned, hopefully you've enjoyed the review.
Yeah, thanks for watching.